So how's everybody doing today? And we're going to do a bit of a warm-up. So initially I had a icebreaker, which we're going to do. But, oh, I think somebody else is coming in. Oh, no? Okay. All right, today's objectives are to understand what work culture is, identifying factors that contribute or cause job loss, learning strategies to successfully function in a professional environment, and then, of course, tips for advancement. Okay, so we're supposed to work in pairs, but since we're limited, we're just going to do an introduction of each other. So I'm going to ask you where you went to school, what your occupation is, where you live, and simple, what makes you smile? So who's going to start first? Okay.
Where did I go to school? I went to the Ohio State University and Hampton University for grad. And what's your occupation? I work in higher education. And where do you live? Rockville, Maryland.
Okay.
And what makes me smile? It's just the positive vibes, like, you know, being in nature and new experiences and good memories and quality time.
Awesome, awesome. And sir, your name?
I went to school in South France Mary University. I'm a registered therapist. I live in Rockville, and my kids make me smile.
Awesome, awesome. Your name?
Oh, Makia Cordell.
Makia?
Stone.
Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. I went to school, grad school. I did it at Keller Graduate School. My occupation is a career counselor. I live in Silver Spring. And what makes me smile are my kids and also helping people achieve greatness. So what that means for me is I love it when my clients are able to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and that they can be whoever they want to be in life. So greatness is important to me, and that makes me smile. Success. Okay. So, basic life lesson. I'll say you're responsible for yourself. What you don't know may hurt you or hold you back. Don't be afraid of something, learn about it, and build your strengths, target your weaknesses, and develop important soft skills. The soft skills are so important for work. All right, what is organizational culture? Want to read it?
Organizational culture is a system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs which governs how people behave in an organization. They have a strong influence, these values, on the people in the organization and dictate, you know, how they dress, how they act, and how they perform their jobs.
Absolutely. So our workshop today is teaching us how to maintain employment. And a big part of maintaining that employment is really the culture of the organization that you're working with. So what type of cultures are in your organizations that you're working with? Good, bad, like.
What's some options?
There are no options, just tell me. Like, so when people think of organizational culture, these are some of the words that they come up with. Respect, friendly, stress, happy, average, teamwork, nice, they're supportive, they're positive. So toxic, those are the positives of work culture, and then they're the negatives, right? So some people say it's flexible. So what type of work environments do you all live in? I work in?
Supportive.
How so and why?
Because I have a good relationship with my coworkers,
Awesome.
and I can, or colleagues rather, and I can call on them if I have questions or if I don't understand, if I need clarity, and you know they're have been willing to lend a helping hand. So I would say supportive.
Okay, awesome.
It depends. It can be stressful, supportive. It rotates all the time. We have new people coming in and out, rotating, you know. So it's different.
You know what the number one word that came up was stress. A lot of people say like their work cultures were rather stressful to some extent, and I think that some days there is more stressful than other days for the majority of us. I think an organization that encourages leadership is also, I think, is very important in a work culture. Nowadays, people are really looking for work cultures that are flexible because there's so much going on in people's lives. You know, you have to balance your work, you have to balance your family, and for people who are going to school, you have to balance that as well. So flexibility and health, people want well-being. So those are some of the positives when people are talking about work culture. So, and this is, why is a good workplace culture important? It attracts and keeps talented staff. When you spend more time per week at work than you do at home, you want to be in a good environment, right? It drives engagement and retention. People want to work where they feel that they're needed. People want to work where they feel that the employer has the best interest for them. So being able to stay at a job requires you to be able to be in a place that you like. This is where, excuse me, the retention comes in. So I'm only going to stay at a place that I really feel comfortable in, right? So if, and what that comfortability means to me means that I want to be in a place where I feel that my employer has the best interest for me and that I will give my all to that employer as well. I want to work in a place where I feel respected, right? Would you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay. So what are some of the reasons why you've stayed at your place of employment?
Benefits are good.
Benefits, that is key, right? And for you?
A good life-work balance.
A good life-work balance, okay. Are you able to have flex days at your place of work?
No, not really flex days, but I'm able to take off when I need to.
Oh, okay.
So I've been in companies where, where I've been like denied leave for some reason or told I put it in advance too much, but I don't have that problem. Like if I need to take off, I'm a pretty dependable employee. So if I need to take off, even though I put in the request, it's really like it's really just a memo.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so this goes into why do people lose their jobs, right? So we know what we want when we are working at an individual company, but unfortunately there are also some of our colleagues who tend to not follow the rules and hence they end up losing employment, right? So one of the reasons why people will be let go from work are because they are coming to work late, right? People don't have relational skills, failure to keep current in the field, and have a negative attitude. How does attitude affect your work? How does attitude affect your work?
That's a direct correlation to your ability to be productive.
Yep. Failure to take initiative, failure to demonstrate productivity, and just being plain lazy. You know, sometimes people are not willing to carry out assignments that they've been tasked with, right? But then there are you all, right? Who are great employees because you guys arrive to work on time. One of the things that I like to say is think as a team member, not as an employee. How often do we hear that I just work here? You know, people love saying that, I just work here. And that attitude is really negative. When you go to work, you have to think of yourself as being part of, really being part of a team and being a member, not just an employee. If you have that, I'm just here to work and I don't really care, that really shows in the type of work that you do. But when you think as a team member, not as an employee, it really means that you are taking value into your work and you value the organization that you're working for, right? So again, to being a team player, keep a positive attitude, keep your professional and your personal and professional skills growing and developing. What does that mean to you? Like, are you taking any additional trainings, not only because the organization is mandating you to, but because you feel that, you know what? You said you're a therapist?
Yes.
Okay, so as a therapist, are you taking any additional trainings, not just because the organization is saying, but because you feel that this is really going to help me advance as I work with my clients, right? So how often are we taking or participating in professional development? Is that something that you do often?
Very often in my career.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as often as I would like. So sometimes it's like scheduling, some scheduling constraints, another thing. So not very often.
You know, one of the things that I could tell you is that, so there is a online platform, it's called Allison.com. And Allison, you could take courses for free. They have over like 300 different courses, ranging from project management to some of the courses in healthcare and social services. So I often encourage my clients to use Allison. Most of the stuff is free, but if you want to pay for some of the certifications, you can. But it's just a great way to just keep your skills, up to date. So project management, people want to learn project management skills, but having to pay to become a project manager is rather expensive, right? But you could take a short course, which will just give you the basics of project management, which will help you with your work. Because at the end of the day, honestly, we are all project managers. We have to manage the projects at work, right? You have to manage your family at work. I mean, you have to manage your family at home, right? So some of the skills, like if you have children, you have to run from soccer practice to basketball and all, those all become little projects in itself. So how can I gain skills that can help me to be more efficient? Because project managers are very efficient people. So how can I learn some of those basic skills to help me manage my personal life and my professional? Okay? Being flexible. And make your contributions measurable and visible to the right people. What does that mean to you?
Networking.
Networking, and what else? What else could that mean? If we're thinking about it from a work perspective. So networking is one, yes. So the right people at work would be who? Your managers, right? Let's just say you're looking to transfer into another department. So not only do you want your immediate manager to know the work that you're doing, but you also want to be visible to some of the other managers and also just your colleagues. Because you know what's so interesting is that oftentimes at work, in order for you to, when you're looking to transfer into another department, the people who are going to recommend you are not the managers, it's the coworkers. Or like, let's just say you talk to somebody at lunchtime all the time and you sit in the same break room, you have lunch at the same time, and even though you're from different departments, but you're consistently talking to each other, if an opportunity becomes available, that person's going to recommend you. So making sure that the people that you are interacting with, so goes back to your networking. Not only are you networking, within your department, but being able to network with other people within your organization. Because if you're actually thinking about moving up in your organization and part of maintaining, that's part of maintaining our employment. We just don't want to stay in the same position. So if you're thinking of actually moving up, who am I interacting with? Who am I talking with at work? Who are the people that I need to get to know so that when I decide to move to the next level, I already have a colleague that's already there? What does be a low maintenance employee mean? So no complaining, no whining, not monopolizing the boss. So you know how there are just some of those employees who, what are they, needy, what do they say, brown nosers? Is that the word? Right? Who are always like right there with the boss. Every time they're right there. You don't want to be that person. Because as great, I guess, as it may be, sometimes the boss wants somebody who can just, think for, you come in, you say what needs to be said, you have your meetings, you explain what needs to be explained, your boss trusts you, and you're able to go on. Not all the time the one that's sitting right there, because sometimes what happens when it actually is time for promotions or opportunities to work on projects, the boss might say, you know what, Kunda is great, but I know I'm going to really have to hold her hand on this. So I'm going to select somebody else to do this opportunity. So that's where, if you're not that person, they have to hold the hand all the time, it makes a big difference. And then always be prepared, right? You always want to be prepared for an opportunity. Part of that means making sure that you're brushing up on your skills, making sure that you're adding them onto your resume. I have what I call a master resume, and every time I learn something new, honestly, big or small, I add it on. But that master resume is the resume I do not send out. So that's the stuff that, because we do so many great things, and trust me, we always forget. I'm sure if I asked you this week, what did you do at work? You probably did something amazing, but you won't remember it. And then when you get home, you're gonna be like, oh, I should have told her this. So what I do is I actually send an email to myself at work, so that when I get home, I add it to my master resume. And the beauty of technology now, we have our cell phones, which are basically our computers in our hands. Just, you add it, you could actually have in your task, you could just create like accomplishments or something. And then every time you do something, just add it onto that. And then when it's time to update your resume, you have it, all right? And then keep social media and work separate. That's like such a biggie, because everybody's on social media all the time, 24/7. And sometimes you actually just need to keep your personal life personal and your work life work. And I know that people tend to want to blend these things together, but depending on what your occupation is, honestly, sometimes you just really can't. You know, it's important that you just keep them separate. So making sure that your social media has things on it that if an employer were to look on the website, you wouldn't be embarrassed. You see, what often happens is that when employers go on employee social media, sometimes they'll find things that they shouldn't even really know about you. So I often say, if you do have social media, if it is open to, and if you are inviting your coworkers, you want to make sure that your social media is reflecting the positive of you. Like, don't put stuff on it that you know somebody's going to find out. And will they talk about you? Yes, they will. They will bring it out, to work. Absolutely. Okay? All right, tips for career advancement. Okay. So, career advancement should be something that we're always thinking about. So let's just have like a conversation here. Where do you see yourselves in the next year, career-wise? Where do you see yourself in the next year?
I guess maybe doing the same thing right now.
But how would you advance that? So tell us, give us an example of a typical day, or what you do.
Right now, I counsel patients on their compliance with the therapy. I guess career advancement.
So you're a therapist, and how do you see what can you do today that'll help you improve the service that you're providing?
I guess I can get another certificate probably. Yeah. There's other certificates in my field as well.
Okay. Do you plan on opening up your own practice?
Actually, that is a good. Wasn't thinking about it.
That could be something that you could work towards. So what are the steps for me to open up my own practice? What does that mean? I'll come back to you.
All right.
What does career advancement mean to you in the organization you're in? Or does that actually mean that maybe you have to leave the organization?
No, it just means, for me, it just means growing the skill set and abilities that I already have.
Okay.
So that, one, I don't become complacent, but I'm also still challenged in my work.
Okay.
Not being burnt out.
So what exactly does that mean a year from now? So a year from now, if you were to look back and say, okay, I want to be at this level, what does this level mean?
For me, let me see, just recently got a promotion, and so it means taking on a larger manager supervisory role.
Okay.
And that's a baby. So I'm really big on making sure that my professional life has a really good balance with my personal life.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, then it's not for me.
Okay.
Right? So I just want to be happy. I love it. I enjoy the work I do, and so I'm fine with that, and I do it well. But I also want to have energy and time to be at home and to have a good home life.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so so it's fine. I can go to work and give 100%. I can come home and give 100%. For me, that I'm in a good place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said that you just got a promotion,
Yeah.
and you might have to do some supervisory, right?
Well, I've been a supervisor before, and I've done, and so I got a promotion maybe a couple months, a couple months back. And so that works well. So, also thinking of with what comes with advancement comes a larger portion of responsibilities on that particular person. And so that's something that I want at this point in my life right now. Maybe not. There have been roles that I've turned down because it wasn't a good fit for that work-life balance.
So one of the things, Allison, the website I was telling you about, they actually have like some management trainings that you could maybe take, and like I said, they're free. I think that if management is one of the career steps that you are going to have to go back into since you've done it before, being able to take additional trainings and stuff just to improve on the skills, as you said earlier, improve on the skills that you already have is really important. One of the things that I take pride in is really just trying to learn more about the field that I'm in. I like to tell my clients knowledge is power, because I truly believe it is. The more you know, the better. Remember that from Channel 4? The more you know. Oh, okay. Am I dating myself? Okay, thank you. I'm like, I know it. Somebody in here must know that. So the more you know. And being able to take any type of trainings, short-term certifications, and also just reading. There's so much information out there because of the internet. Honestly, a lot of the times you really don't even have to sit in a classroom because there's so much information online. So it's just a matter of just finding the right information that's going to work to help you get to where you want to go to. But Allison is one of the ones that I love a lot. Like I said, they're free. There's a lot of information on it. All you have to do is just create an account really just by using your email address. It's Allison, Allison.com. All right, so one of the most important things to remember about your career, hold on, did this? One of the most important things to remember about your career, especially career advancement, is that the only person working on your career is you. So what that means is, if you want to move into a direction or to move up within your current field, you need to take responsibility and to act in order to make it happen. I put this there because a lot of times people say that they want this and they want this in life, and then they're stagnant. Like, I really want to advance, but when the opportunity presents itself, I just don't know how, or I'm scared, or maybe I shouldn't. But if you want greatness, if you want that work-life balance, if you want to be, stable, and whatever stability means to you, because what stability might mean to you might not mean the same to me, but you have to work towards that. And I really love what she said in saying that for her, in her work, if her work and her personal life don't balance, then she's made a decision that in order for her to be happy, she will not go for it if it's not making sense to her. And a lot of times people follow either money and their personal lives are suffering. But you are the architect of your life. What makes you happy? What is it that you're going to do to help you advance in your career? You're the only one who can dictate that. So what makes you happy? What steps do you think you need to do to make your next level in your career?
For me,
myself, one of the things that worry me tremendously is mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I had taken the resolution to learn more about mental health.
Okay.
Not only to help my students, but to learn myself, and also it's possible to help parents.
That's awesome. Yes, sir. Your name?
Martin.
Hi, Martin.
How you doing?
So we're talking about career advancement.
Yeah. I guess what you said what makes me happy as far as my career goes.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that one of the most important things about career, when we are considering career advancement, is that we have to remember that we are the orchestrators, right? You are the architect of your life. So whatever you want out of your life, you have to be the one to facilitate it. So maybe you can start by telling us, what do you do?
Me personally, it's kind of like I do odd jobs. I work for Talk of the Town right now.
Okay.
And,
Like in Rockville.
Yeah. Right now, and
Uh-huh.
over here at the pool, just getting by jobs right now,
Okay.
just to have money in my pocket and stuff.
Okay.
But mostly I'm like on TCA, like I'm trying like literally that perk you talked about that wants to do more of it is stagnant. It's like been like that for years.
Okay.
And out of personal relationships, and then them interfering with my life, and then when I want to go do stuff, then I let that interfere in that. It's more like the opposite, where people get the money and then they have a personal life that suffer. I have a very rich personal life, but this part of my life is very much suffering. So, like I said, I have to take responsibility for my own. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing nobody else's fault but my own. I guess what made me happy is like acts of service or being useful to the community, and like I was thinking also with mental health. I started with computer tech, but it just seems like there's not enough hands-on computer tech around close enough to me where I can be accessible to it. Like I've done Job Corps. Okay. So like. We started retail sales. The only reason I did retail sales is because they didn't have the computer tech course that I wanted.
So to help me understand, you actually like computers? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, when I was taking it, like building them and doing that stuff. I don't know if I would be interested in it now. Now, it'd be more like mental health and helping people.
The beauty of being a human being is that we're able to change. Like maybe 5 years you want to do this. And then one day you wake up and you say, you know what, I think I want to try something different.
I mean, it's more personal thing for me. It's like I've had something happen to me in the past that was severely affected by like mental health. It was basically my ex or whatever. She had a psychological breakdown, and it put a really big toll on my life. It took two things from me that I love dearly. Okay. So I've been kind of recovering from that. Okay. So I know that being in the workplace sometimes would be hard for me as far as stress, because I don't want to be able to, like, sometimes I'm not really in control of like how I project myself towards people, and it's scary. It's not like something that's like, oh, I'm just being happy and stuff. Like, if I feel frustrated with somebody, like I'm able to see it. So I don't want to bring that kind of energy to the workplace. So that's why I've been like kind of like not trying to be in a situation where I end up doing it to somebody that, what I'm saying, in a corporate setting. That's a lot I worry about and stuff like that. So.
But at least you said that you're working towards it. That's good, and that you acknowledge it, right? So for the fact that you're acknowledging that putting myself in this situation is not the best thing for me, is really, you should give yourself a hand.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I know. So if you want, we could talk a little bit more, because I'm a career counselor. Okay. So we could talk a little bit more about how maybe you can create a plan to work towards, so you can kind of start to work where you're trying to go. Okay? All right. So, tips to help you advance in your career. Goal setting. Don't we love goal setting? Do you love goal setting?
I do.
Do you do? Tell me why you love goal setting.
Well, it's like sports. You work hard to achieve something. When you achieve it, you're like, oh man, you want to pat yourself on the back, and it's,
You do, right? You want to do that? I like to do a little happy dance and kind of shimmy. Yeah. Without goals to guide you, it's hard to know what direction you're going and to move forward. And the beauty of setting goals is like, you don't have to set like 5-year plans. Some people can, and it's great. But but for the majority of us, we want to set goals that are attainable, right? So you find that people will start off with a small set of goals. Like maybe I'm going to do a 1 month. Like in 1 month, I'm going to achieve this. After 1 month, maybe I'll do 2 months, 3 months, 6, going like that. So goal setting, number one, you have to know where you're going. And guess what? If you set your goals and then you don't achieve them, don't beat yourself up. Just go back to the drawing board and assess, what did I do wrong, or what didn't I do, or maybe I just didn't like this. And then you can do it, you can set other goals, okay? So when we're relating to work, you should be able to sit down with your boss and set some work goals, first of all, and then being able to speak with your boss in regards to what are those goals when they're related to work, right? So we have our personal goals, and then we have goals at work, right? Every employee has some deliverables that they have to deliver at work, okay? Even if you're a cashier, you have to make sure that the customer is being served. That's your deliverable, okay? So when it comes to work, I need to be able to sit down with my boss and say, you know, what is it that I need to get done in the X amount of time? You know, what are your expectations of me? And you have that conversation with your employer. Another thing to advance your career is to ask for more responsibility. That's when most people are like, no, it's okay. I'm not going to get paid for it. But you know what? Sometimes it's not about getting paid, but it's also learning a new skill. You know, and companies want people that are willing to step up, right? And be creative. Find ways to do your job, but in a creative way. You know, or find ways to be valuable in your place of work. So what is it that I can do that'll be that's going to help generate or save my company money? You know, using a mentor at work is really, really beneficial. How many of you have mentors or have had mentors? Did you find it helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So using a mentor, finding someone you respect with experience in your field who also knows that they can mentor you. And then keep learning. We kind of talked about that. Education is key, right? And I tell people every day you get the opportunity to learn. Honestly, it's up to you. It's up to you whether you want to take it as a learning experience. Every day that I meet somebody, I tell you I learned something new. Now, some of the things I learned may not be that good, but I've learned something, right? So you learn good and bad, but it's up to you to learn. And then we talked about keeping your resume up to date. You never know when an opportunity is going to knock on your door. So maybe you recently got a promotion, but who knows? Maybe they're looking at you and saying, you know what? We need to move her to the next level. So you need to have that resume ready and polished, because the first thing they say is, do you mind forwarding me your resume? So making sure that you're keeping it up, keeping everything up to date on your resume. So we talked about this. So keep a win list. So that's a list of your accomplishments, right? So writing down your accomplishments, putting them somewhere so when the time comes, you're able to use them. And then how many of you are part of a professional association? What's TCU?
Transportation Communication International. It's basically a thing out of job work where they use the advanced programming.
Okay.
So it's basically about transportation. So you run around railroads, do government jobs, work for the Air Force. So it's basically a union. So basically we're the Teamsters. It's like kind of like that. Yeah, I took it because they had better investments, but something happened at the end of the job order. It's just kind of like all the benefits that I should have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But joining an organization, association, is really important. It's a great way to network. It's a great way to be around your peers. It's a great way to learn about opportunities as far as educational opportunities, and also some career opportunities as far as employment. So, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your plan? Like, what's your plan moving forward? Like, what's your plan? Like, what are you going to do now that you have have this opportunity to get a few tips.
First, get your name in like a business card so we can have a conversation. And then,
Absolutely, that I'll give you.
pick classes for the upcoming fall session.
Okay, are you trying to go to school?
Yeah, I'm already registered and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Follow a mental health plan. So.
awesome. So, what's your plan? Remember,
Update my resume for one.
updating your resume. Okay, I like that. What else?
Writing down my list of accomplishments.
Okay. Key. You take that and pass that back.
There you go, sir.
You gave me two.
I give you two?
Okay.
Oh, they were just, they were stuff together? Oh, thank you. All right. So, remember, determine what you want for your career so you can work towards and reach your goals. When you are trying to maintain your employment, move up in your current employment, seek other opportunities, remember you are the architect of your life. You are the one that has to determine what you want, where you want, and how you're going to get to where you're going to get to. So I provided you all with the 10 commandments of keeping your job. So the first one being on time. 2, call in if you know that you're going to be tardy or absent. And don't call 10 minutes before. You love as a supervisor when your people call you 10 minutes before and you're like, you probably knew 30 minutes earlier that you're going to be running late, right? Try your best. Anticipate problems and needs of management. Show a positive attitude. Avoid, I like to say, avoid the water cooler. You know, the water cooler where everybody stops to gossip and backstab and all of that kind of stuff. Every employment place has it. Just don't be the one standing by the water cooler. By all means necessary, keep yourself out of it. I often tell people, the very people that are standing at that water cooler gossiping are the very ones that are going to come back and they'll be the ones that will say that it was you and not them. I often tell people that when you go to work, your objective should be to be the best employee that you can be. You know, go to work and be the best you. Don't get caught up in other people's, shenanigans. I often tell people that when you got the job alone. You didn't come with a team of people. So when you're doing your work, you need to be able to function, again, with the best of your ability because you have your own responsibilities, okay? Follow the rules. Look for opportunities, all right? And avoid criticizing your organization. If you have a problem with the way things are going, then you go to your boss, you go to human resources, talk to people in the organization, not talking to your colleagues because they can't fix it. You know, when you have opportunities for volunteering, do so if you can. You know, be a good team player and try to avoid saying, that's not my job. You know, people love that one, that's not my job. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Was this helpful? So you got a few tips. What are you gonna start off on doing with from here and try to implement?
I think a lot of the stuff I already do is just for me just deciding if me wanting to take on more responsibility, balance out my priorities, or if I like that where everything is going on, I want to keep it. So far, I want to keep it like, I'm in a good place.
Honestly, you look like you're in a very good place. Even when you talk, like you're just like, I have this great work-life balance, and I want to keep it this way. So you should keep it. No, honestly, even as I'm talking to him, I'm like, oh my God, she has that balance, and it's showing, and that's good because a lot of people are struggling with that work-life balance. So you should give yourself a kudos that you have found a way to manage it, and I love the fact that you're saying that I'm not going to allow anything to shift unless I want it to. So if I'm going to spend more time at work, that's my decision. And this is what this was really about, is you to take control. And I love the fact that in just talking to you, I could see that you're doing that. So that's great. What are you going to leave with? Oh, you're going to give me He's like, I was going to talk to you. Okay. What, Sissy?
I'm just going to keep improving and taking more classes and adding that to my knowledge to apply it in my classroom, helping my students.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for participating and attending. I really hope that you guys have learned something, and as you've all stated, that you will go back and implement some of these tips, and I wish you all the best.